Welcome back to my podcast, Conversations with My Clients. So, today I'm going to talk about a reoccurring conversation that I keep having recently with my clients, and it is about the topic of protein. Mostly, how can I eat more protein? So, if you work with me, or if you have followed me or listened to any of the previous podcasts, you will know that I am a big fan of a high protein diet. And this is because protein is a really important macronutrient for our health. A lot of people think it is just to do with bodybuilders and getting really muscly, but they don't appreciate just how important it is for our health, especially as women as we age. So I'm always going on about protein. And I'm not going to go into much more detail than that because I have actually recorded a little lecture, I guess, about protein, which is on my YouTube channel. So if you are interested in learning about why I am so into protein and also how much I recommend that you should be eating, then please do check out that video. I'll put the link in the show notes for this episode as well. So, really, what my clients have been talking about is how can I increase the amount of protein I am eating? I will set my clients protein targets that they aim to eat daily. And a few people are actually struggling to eat the amount of protein that I have suggested that they eat, which is an amount that is relative to their goal and their individual circumstances. And to be honest, the way our society lives now, I guess, is it is quite challenging to get protein in sometimes because it's not necessarily a way that we have been taught to eat. When you go to a music festival, for example, there are really limited high protein options for food. Like when you're out and about, it is quite hard to grab and go with something that is high protein. If you go to the petrol station and you need to pick up something because you're on a long journey, it's really hard to get things that have a decent amount of protein in. So I definitely can understand the struggle and how it is difficult to fit it in. So I thought in this podcast, I would give some tips and tricks, I guess, for how to add more protein into your diet. So, the first one, whenever you are sitting down to eat something, ask yourself, where is my protein? I want you to kind of rethink the way you're eating and make protein the star of your dish. So, when you start, where is the protein? Build everything else around that. If you have absolutely no idea what are good sources of protein, please Google it. Google is your friend. Google is going to help you out here. It will give you a great list of foods that are really high in protein. So you can start to build your dishes around that. Be wary of things like chocolate bars, as an example, where they will market it as high protein. If a meal doesn't have at least 20 grams of protein in it, then for me, it's not considered high protein. And you'll get a lot of these bars. I think in England, there's now like a Mars bar, and I think it claims to be a high protein Mars bar, and it's got like 10 grams of protein in. So you would have to have two of these Mars bars in order for me to think that this is high protein. And of course, having two Mars bars is quite a lot of calories. So you're probably better off just having an actual meal. Anyway, I digress. Check out Google for good sources of protein and get creative and build your dishes around protein being the star. Tip number 2, eat in a way that enables you to fit protein into your day. So one of my clients that I was speaking to said that they don't actually like eating until mid-morning. So they're not eating anything until about 10:30, 11. So I guess there's a kind of a confusion there because it's like, okay, I'm eating something at 10:30, 11. Then it's a few hours and then it's lunchtime, cool. But then there's a few hours and it's early dinner or we're having a late dinner. We're not really hungry. Are we snacking? There's not enough time in the day to fit in your protein. I would recommend eating at least 20 grams of protein every 3 to 4 hours, and you can understand more about why in that YouTube video that I told you about. But if you're actually not starting to eat until later on in the day, then you don't have enough time to be eating every 3 to 4 hours and trying to get that nice hit of protein in every 3 to 4 hours. So my advice would be start eating earlier. Make sure you're having breakfast, getting a good hit of protein in at the beginning of the day so that you have space and time in the day to be hungry, eat at lunchtime, maybe have an afternoon snack, and then again at dinner. So you have different opportunities to eat protein throughout the day without feeling like, oh my God, I have to stuff protein in and I just want to go to bed. So start eating earlier. Now, of course, this really goes in the face of intermittent fasting, because the whole point of intermittent fasting is that you have less time to eat. So I understand the concept as a way of encouraging people to eat less and therefore eat less calories and then be in an energy deficit to help them with fat loss. But it really doesn't allow enough time for you to be fitting in enough protein without feeling like you're absolutely stuffing it in. You'd be better off spreading that out throughout the day. There is something, if you are a fan of intermittent fasting, there is something called a protein sparing modified fast, where you won't actually have food during your fasting window, but you will have protein shakes. So that is a way to ensure that you're getting enough protein in the fasting window. So you're getting the benefits of having more regular protein, and you can fit enough protein in throughout the day, but you're kind of still following the principles of intermittent fasting. And if anyone goes, oh yeah, but then I'm breaking my fast, all these magical things won't happen. Spoiler alert, I'm afraid that intermittent fasting isn't magic. So if you break your fast, nothing bad is going to happen, because it's not a magic thing. Number 3, in terms of eating breakfast, here are some suggestions for things that you might want to try. For me, I always have overnight oats or overnight Weet-Bix, and I mix a protein powder into the recipes. I have yogurt, protein, oats or Weet-Bix, chia seeds, linseeds, which all contain protein. Altogether, my breakfast comes to about 35-ish grams of protein. That works for me. And this was a really interesting conversation I had with one of my clients, because they said to me, there's no way in hell they would eat those things. And that's great, because that really helps to explain why I won't do meal plans, because I might say to you, okay, here we go, eat these things. And you might turn around and go, F off, no way, that's disgusting. So this is why I don't do meal plans, because everybody is different. Everybody has individual tastes and likes and cooking abilities and budget. So you have to find something that works for you. That works for me. You might be a peanut butter on toast kind of gal, and whereas peanut butter and toast do actually contain quite a nice amount of protein, it's probably not enough to get you up to that 20 grams, not without adding heaps of extra peanut butter or extra slices of toast, which then, can start to creep up in the calories. So you might be a toast and spread kind of person. Have a protein shake as well. Nothing wrong with protein shakes. It's just whey protein powder most of the time, unless you're having a non-whey protein powder. But it's a natural product that is just processed down into a very easy drinkable format. So I've got nothing against protein powders. Make a smoothie. Make a smoothie, again, using protein powders, yogurt. You can add some oats in there. You can put lots of fruit, leafy greens, veggies. You can whack a load of good stuff into a smoothie cup, blitz it all up, and drink it. Again, that's not for everybody, but it's a really good way of getting in your protein. If you're not someone that likes to eat, drink it. Drink the protein, get your micronutrients in, get a really good hit of all of that nutrition early on in the day. If you're someone that has a bit more time on their hands, you can cook up a breakfast. So on a weekend, I love a traditional English breakfast. I have a healthier spin on it, but I will have toast with cheese and beans and egg, little bit of Worcestershire sauce because I'm from England, and that's more than 20 grams of protein. No protein powder in sight, so that's a good option. If you like eggs, cooking up an omelette with cheese and some shaved ham, that's another way that you can get a good hit of protein in the morning without having to use protein shakes. Just requires a little bit more effort. Lunch and dinner for me, again, as long as you're leaving the space to have a lunch and a dinner, it's so easy. If you eat meat, it's so easy. You basically, where is my protein? What is the star? Choose anything: chicken, beef, tuna, prawns. These are the ones that I eat. Tofu, I've started eating, and build around there. You can have stir fries, you can have salads, you can have soups, you can have pita bread, you can have wraps, sandwiches, rice, quinoa. Like, the options are endless when it comes to lunch and dinner. If you are vegetarian, tofu, quinoa is a complete protein. Lentils, bean curry. There are just so many options. And again, this is where Google is your friend. There are so many recipes out there, and you can usually see the macronutrient breakdown. Again, if you've got at least 20 grams of protein, you're in the right place. Snacks, protein shakes. If I'm in a hurry, I'll have a protein shake and a piece of fruit, or a protein shake and a little oat bar. I am a massive fan of cottage cheese. I love cottage cheese spread on crunchy Crusket biscuits. I usually add some pineapple, which a lot of people think is weird, but I love. I will add gherkins. Again, people think this is weird, but I love it. I've had some really interesting combinations that you can add to cottage cheese, and I'm here for it. Cottage cheese is a high volume food, so you can eat a lot of it if you are that way inclined, which I am. I feel like I've got a good appetite. You can eat a lot of it. You can get a decent hit of protein without having to have protein powders. I love it. You could make some egg muffins. I've heard of people mixing cottage cheese through their egg muffins, again, to increase the protein content. You can get some really good high protein yogurts now. You could have some yogurt, throw some fruit in, throw some nuts in. Lovely. There are lots of options. You can go down the protein bar route. Again, being mindful that anything less than 20 grams of protein is not worth it, the money, the calories. You need at least 20 grams of protein. There's one in New Zealand that I tried called Musashi, I think, and it had 40 grams of protein, and it wasn't hideous. I mean, I wouldn't have it as my chocolate choice, but I was really limited. I went to the garage and there wasn't anything else apart from that, and it was fine. So, if you've got the money to spend on those kind of things, that's an option as well. So plenty of choices. Again, use the internet as your friend to look for options that work for you, things that you like, things that you will make, and things that you can fit into your lifestyle. Finally, this is going to sound really obvious, and I don't mean it to sound harsh, but a way to eat more protein is to literally eat more protein. And when I say that, I'm referring to portion sizes. So, for example, you might have a sandwich and you might only be able to fit about 50 grams of chicken in. Cook up some more. See if you can fit some more chicken in there. Have 100 grams of chicken. You might be making a curry, a tofu curry, and you've got 100 grams of tofu. Put 150 grams of tofu. Put 200 grams of tofu in there. Increase the amount of the protein that you're eating. There are little cans of tuna that you can get. You can get a bigger one. Have the bigger can of tuna. Just have more of the thing in your dish that is providing you with the most protein. I am aware that that will then increase the calories. And this is where calorie tracking is really helpful, because you might look at other areas of your dish and say, okay, well, maybe I'll have a little less rice than I was going to have with my curry. Maybe I will cut the rice altogether. Maybe I will switch to a light coconut milk instead of this full fat coconut cream to reduce the calories there, so I can add more protein in. Making little tweaks where you can drop calories from a part of the dish to increase the protein will help you stay within a calorie appropriate range as well. So I'm going to finish there. Hopefully that has been useful. If you have any other ways of increasing your protein that you can think of, I would love to hear. So please reach out. And of course, if you have any questions about anything and you would like to have a conversation with me, please reach out. All of my details are below. Have a great day and eat your protein.